Alrighty, Trade Ideas live Q&A, starting a few seconds early here. Give everybody a moment, pile in, see what kind of crowd we got. As always, another interesting Monday from the market. We'll jump around, take a look at a few different things, maybe jump into some scan building. Some things that I was looking at here. So this is a live forum open Q&A. Anybody has questions, please fire them away for me. I don't come with any pre-done content. I rely on you all to generate the content for me. The way I prefer to do things, I think it's better when you're all driving the content, asking the questions. That way the education of this session here is a little more tailored towards your specific needs. LTHM, that just continues to show great strength here. EV section, been holding up well overall. So while I wait for some questions to pour in, to piggyback on the comment I just made, LTHM continuing to show great strength, this is what I mean here. And this beautiful pattern here that's just playing out over and over and over. Sometimes on smaller time frames, even here we can find it. I always mention that I'm biased to this pattern. I see it more often than probably other people will because I like the pattern. It's a big part of what I play for trading. But, I think this is a good example of it right here. Whether you want to call them horseshoes ups, cups and handles, however you want to play that out, whatever you want to call it. So, another nice day from it, especially on a day where the market was kind of, wishy-washy, choppy, an hour and a half or so trending down after a gap up. Then, a few hours being up and now a few hours sideways. So, when you can see something that isn't, it's not lighting the sky on fire with volume here, it's doing right around its normal volume over the last 10 days, a little over 2 million shares traded here. And, we can see after that initial gap, we kind of catch this momentum line here. It's an 8 EMA. And just kind of holding that on a 15-minute chart here. So, kind of nice here. The same thing on the 5 here, and it's the same EMA, but on the 5-minute chart here, we caught it, gave it up for a second, and got it right back, and just kind of holding it for the day, defending that line all day long. So just continue to hold that momentum all day long here. So I'm not in it. I wish I was. I've been in and out of it all through for a year now. I've probably been in and out of trading this one. Possibly one of those ones that I'll look back one day and maybe wish I held it longer. But wasn't my plan, so I trade my plan. Again, it's a live forum, open Q&A here, so I'm kind of just droning on here on this one specific chart while I wait for you all to come with any questions you have about the platform, whether you are a subscriber and there's something you're looking to see how to do, build, create, or if you're someone who's just kind of wandering in, kicking the tires, curious about the software, what we are, who we are, what we do. That's what I'm here for. I'm here for you all to ask those questions and for me to hopefully answer them to the best of my ability. If I don't have an answer for something right away, I'm going to simply say I don't have that answer. I'm going to research it for you. You might have to, open up an email chain with me so we can maybe a little back and forth while I get that answer for you. So, all right. We're still a little gun shy on the questions here, it looks like. So, all right, with that said here, Sorry, there's a few questions coming in. Monitoring on another chat that's here, just making sure if they pertain to me or don't pertain to me. So, all right, with that said, here, let's dive around a few things here. Holly, kind of quiet. She was really quiet last Friday. I think that had to do with that massive gap down. Caught her off guard, caught, I think, a lot of people off guard. And it just didn't allow for any of the strategies to be met that day as far as those trading parameters went with her. Today, I think, went the reverse on her. Now she's started to optimize going in reverse for, some down days. And then we get this massive gap up today. So we bring over SPY chart, and this is what I'm talking about here. This was Friday, and even though it was a half day, that's a sizable gap. And this is no less of a sizable gap here. This is just a pivot line that I happen to draw for some support and resistance and perspective of what's going on in the market. But I think these two big gaps like this have really kind of got her caught off guard these last couple of days, and that kind of puts her in quiet mode. So get rid of that chart and just dive into a couple of things that she did here today. Let's start with a stop out here on OUT. Bringing these charts a little better. And let's see, she also had a re-entry on this. And that re-entry, I don't think really fared any better than the original entry. So, we see here, she gets in on the second 15-minute candle here off this gap up. And we had some sideways movement, but we're sitting right, whoops, that's not a great line. We're sitting right around the high of the day on Friday. And, we're well aware, or anybody that knows me knows, or should be well aware, that pivot lines are not exacts. They're approximations full of whoopsies, ups and downs. And I think that we just couldn't break out of this opening range here today, and, just got kind of stuck in it with the market more or less. If we brought over a SPY chart here, well, it's an NYSE stock. I don't know if it is in the S&P 500 or not. She kind of held it, OUT kind of held it through here when we were drifting down. And then as we started to move up, we get this upwards movement here. And as we went sideways and kind of drifting down, it was the same thing here. So it just really wasn't trading on its own, wasn't, any sort of alpha play. So, one of those stocks that maybe you took a look at and you decided, I'm suspect with that gap right there. If we can get into it, it would be a different story. We just couldn't. So just the way it goes, that we're not all winners, we're not all losers. That's always the spread that's in between. SSO, this was kind of a bummer to see this show up here. It's a short index. It's leveraged. I don't know, it's 3x or what it is. That did not update. Odd. Try that again. Okay, apparently this doesn't want to update here for me in the profile. Okay, all the same, it's a short levered index for the S&P 500. So what you're going to find here is that off that gap up, and we started to fade. It meets that bull trap criteria, and looked like it might have just been a bull trap for all we know. Market caught wind though. No happy accident. Show you a couple things here and just how we like to line things up, putting the puzzle together. This caught support right here on the 815 EMA, or a 15-minute chart, 8 EMA. No different than the S&P caught right here. Exactly the same. And these charts basically mirror each other, almost perfectly mirror each other, as a matter of fact. Touch of the bodies of these candles are a little bit different with the wicks, but not really much there. And so just kind of a bummer to see that in there. There's no real comment to make on it other than, it's a leveraged ETF. That was the bad and the ugly. And now for the good. So Barry, just a nice solid trade. We got something that's doing, at this point now, almost 3 times its volume for 10-day average. And that was much higher earlier in the day when that alert was made, obviously. You had a nice gap up, all right? And you had a gap up into, I won't say it's no man's land, but a gap up into this gap here, all right? With a strong market. and obviously something else was going on that we had an uptick in volume. We can see from these days leading into it to today, much nicer after a few days of heavy volume selling. And this was just able to catch the moving averages and continue to grind on up for the rest of the day here. You see, we're near lifetime high when that alert came in. Anyway, 69.75 on that on that alert, and 70.90. We like things that are going up. We like things with no resistance above us. That's exactly what Holly found on this one. So, had all the things that you want to see working for it, basically, and it wouldn't have faulted. Let's say we got that fill here, and right around here we had gotten blocked. It still would have been an all right alert. That's about that level there where it could have been blocked with some resistance definitely in this level here. All right, but excuse me, not Holly necessarily, but Barry was able to push right through that resistance, and there we are. And we'll finish with your rider, trucks, trailers. People are moving, going from the city to the country to the city, whatever they're doing. Decent alert. I would say didn't work great in conservative, and now it looks like it's going to take a run back up here in moderate mode. And what do I mean by conservative and moderate modes? I see this darker shaded area here that indicates when she was in the trade, when Holly was in the trade in conservative mode. She exited on a profit save. We see that down here. Okay, that will coincide with this and this exit time. Anytime you see an exit time and an exit reason, that is always with conservative, not moderate. Only things that are ever getting you out in moderate is going to be a stop hit, which we did not get here, or an end of the day close. That's it. Those are the two things we hold to the end of the day in moderate. So we can see we're trying to make a run back up here in moderate, but we got the alert here, and let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 candles that you were sitting there on 15-minute candles at a decent price after the alert. You hitting it out of the ballpark? No, but you certainly were making a few bucks on that. Here where we get that fade, and that's why I always pound the table on it being man and machine. Got a quality signal from Holly here. All right. And what do I mean by quality signal? Okay, well, this is what I mean by quality signal. We've come down, we put in a low, we've got a range established now on the day, okay? And as we make that move back up, we have a nice stop set here for that range, okay? And we're setting back up to push back on that high of the day, all right? That's what I mean. We gapped up into a gap here, so there's certainly room for us to move up here to this prior resistance. And now we've established a nice intraday range for our established risk and reward. So really a nice setup from Holly overall. Her exit obviously could be better, but that's where the man and machine comes in. I would like to believe that, especially on a 5-minute chart, it's a little better demonstrated. I would like to believe that someone that enters any trade, whether it's Holly's strategy, your own strategy, whether it's our software, someone else's software, you're just doing it on your own. Something that's moving up for all this time like that and starts to pull back, and you're a day trader or you're claimed to be a day trader, I would like to believe most people would be exiting that position on that move back down there. Just trade and risk management. That's all. So, overall quiet day from Holly, I'll say, but there's definitely some spread to be had in there. Definitely some, something to be said for wins in there. Take a pause here for a moment. I'm going to sip some water. And right before I do, I just like to, once again, I see people coming in and coming out of this. I never know, how many people are really here or not, but this is an open forum Q&A. So if you folks have questions, please ask the questions. That's what I'm here for. I like it when you guys drive the content instead of me just kind of making it up and droning along. I just think it's better for everybody to learn and grow together in that sense. That's all. So if you guys got any questions, please fire them away. That's what I'm here for. All right, so we're still kind of quiet on that questions panel there. So, all right, we can go into a few things that I was looking at here today. So, anybody that knows, I have this here. I call it automation list. It's something that I'm looking at to possibly automate one day. I am not currently automating it. Um, what I do is I have a curated list of stocks that meet some criteria for me to jump on that list. And these are the alerts that came through it today. So I would just jump around, take a quick look how any of it worked out for us or didn't work out for us. So 1418, very solid alert off of that, I would say. All day long, all day strong type of alert. Um, Someone might say, well, Chris, what interested you in that? Well, as I mentioned before at the very beginning of this, or anybody that's been in these before, they know what patterns I like. Beautiful cup and handle. I see another one trying to form here. Sorry, my drawings aren't always the best, a little crude on those, but all the same, I think you get the idea of what I'm looking at there. Stock's been liquid enough, even today, a little over 800,000 shares traded. So it's enough to keep me interested in it. And that's what I saw there. So that's why that made the cut. EVs have been on the strong side. Need lithium to power those. That's why I've continued to keep this on here. This has been a tough trader. Been in and out of it a few times. Been a winner on it, been a loser on it. But that's kind of why I'm keeping it here. It's a pretty liquid stock, even doing under its relative volume now. Given a 10-day time frame, we're still at almost 2.5 mil shares traded today. So that's it's enough to keep me interested, and there's enough reasons for me to be interested in this. Off that alert, I don't think it's done a whole lot. 1076. Now we're hanging right around that alert price. So made a quick pop off that alert, pulled right back down, and then kind of grinded up the rest of the way. So again, and anybody that's been in these streams knows that I've discussed that. I'm using a new high after 15 minutes as the alert catalyst for this. And for months, it worked great. It seemed to be on fire. Now, for months, it seems to sometimes catch a lot of tops. And then, stock pulls back to the moving averages, the intraday moving averages, and moves back up again. It gets kind of near the entry level. So I've been looking at some different ways to maybe revamp what I'm trying to do here with this scan LTHM. I covered this kind of at the beginning of the session here. Just a pattern that is just unbelievably strong to me on the daily chart here. It's in a sector that's, going to continue to grow for now as far as EVs and lithium and batteries and all that kind of stuff. So, again, well, what do you mean by such a strong daily chart? This is what I mean. All right. And every time we get these pullbacks, and the pullbacks seem to be even less, the bases seem to be smaller, but the moves still seem to be right there with it. So, big fan of that. It's been a good trader to me. I've been on the winning side of it. I've been on the losing side of it. But it's just been very, very solid. It's just always a liquid stock. It's always trading over 1 million shares in a day. Got 2.27 here today, and that's just hanging right around its normal volume. And the other thing that got me interested in, and I talk about it over and over again, I'll always pound the table on the things that, are part of what I look at, as a pivot line. We draw that. Yes, I had that little whoopsie right below it, but, that's what pivot lines do. They have whoopsies. And so I'd seen it just banging, 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 banging. And then, banging on up here for, taking out all-time highs again. And we're finding some strength here as the faster moving averages catch the price action again, looking like it wants to just continue to push that rate back up again to me. So what does it do tomorrow? I have no idea, but you better believe I'll be watching it and possibly trading it tomorrow. BCTX, something similar here that I'm seeing. Only problem is this is a bio and not as liquid. So, you got to be really careful with these kind of things. You never know what kind of report's going to come out and just absolutely get you crushed. But, some similar pattern looking stuff here. And I like the way this is now forming here. So I don't know that I will or will not trade this actively. You see things like this, and it just, makes me, I'm not so sure about that. So, but either way, threw it on this list to see what would happen today. And last but not least, ARQQ, kind of a newer issue, but again, and I've been watching this one for a little while here. It's been on my liked list. Same idea, that same pattern that's playing up over and over again on just about everything I'm watching. So hopefully that sparks something, someone seeing some different charts and things that are going on here. Um, let's see. We've covered enough charts, I think, and like I said, I really prefer the focus of these Q&As to be more software based than, charting and things like that. As I mentioned, I'm no CMT, I'm no expert. I see what I see on charts, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Let's get into something here. What do we want to build? What do we want to build? Guess we could build an alert window. We built a lot of those recently. Anybody has ideas for scanning? Something they want to see built, something they have a question about? We've got all this data here, all this data at our disposal between alerts and filters. I always wonder to myself what people have built out there with trade ideas. There must be some incredible scans built somewhere. A lot of time, effort, focus, energy put into a lot of this stuff. So, all right, well, let's head to the window specific filters. Let's get rid of some stuff here. I'm just going to kind of start throwing something at the wall here. I don't know what I'm going to build yet. If anybody has ideas, please jump in. I'm just going to kind of muddle my way through building something here. So let's go with an $8 minimum here on the price. Let's go with a $50 max on the price. Let's see. We want to see stuff that's up from the close of yesterday. Is that what we want to do? Want to see just up from the open of today. Make sure we got some volume metrics in here. Let's see. Let's go with 90,000 shares traded for the day at least. What else do we want to look at in here? I'm going to find things that are strong. Let's go with the position in 3-month range. Position in 3-month range. Let's add that filter. See if we can find something kind of long term here. Let's see. We want to be 50% above that 3-month range. All right. Let's see how that works out for us. And go back to search. So there's some daily RSI here. I'm going to add that filter. And let's give it a minimum of, let's say, 45. So maybe we're getting warmed up here. And let's come back to search. Get rid of that. So, all right, so far, what do we have here? Let's clear the unused out of the way. We're looking at stocks between $8 and $50. At least 90,000 shares traded on the day. It's 3-month range. We got to be above 50% on that. Daily RSI, want a minimum of 45. Let's scroll on down here. Consecutive days, that's interesting. Some different pivots we can look at. Above VWAP. Let's go with the 50 SMA. Let's take a look at 50 SMA filter. What do we got for that? There we go. Change from 50 SMA. Let's add that filter. Let's make sure we want to be above that. Let's say we want to be 0.25% above that. All right, selected alerts. Let's go to alerts. Let's figure out an alert to throw in this bad boy. And again, this is an open forum Q&A. So if people have questions, they want something specific demonstrated, fire it away. I'm happy to stop this exercise here. I'm just kind of trying to do something software related that maybe will provide some insight to anybody that has some ideas or some thoughts or something they've been thinking about, or maybe it'll trigger something you were previously thinking about. A lot of times we have questions. We don't even know we have those questions until we just kind of dive into some stuff. I'm looking at some different, what's the catalyst? What's the alert? What's the trigger here? trying to think something that's going to work for what we're doing long term here. A lot of these alerts, the event itself is more short term based. There is a standard a yearly standard deviation, excuse me. Not sure that's going to do what I want it to do. I don't play with standard deviation a ton, although I have been getting into it a little more recently. A lot of different patterns in here. We got narrow range. But again, these are on smaller time frames, and I was looking at something on a longer time frame. As you know, we take a look here. We're looking at 50 SMAs and 3-month ranges here. It'll also bring me to a thought I just had, that the reason why I like top list so much for swing trading is I don't have to have an alert or event for the top list. I can just get the filters returned to me. Hey Dan, how are you? I'm building. I was trying to build something alert wise. I was looking at a little longer time frame here, so just some real simple stuff between $8 and $50. 90,000 shares traded on the day at least. It'll be 50% above the 3-month range. Daily RSI is 45, and we're looking at at least a 1/4% above the 50 SMA. Where I found myself stumped to this point is finding an alert that kind of works on a longer term time frame. A lot of our alerts are more day trading based, I'll say. And that's where I started to get off on my thought of why top lists are so great for swing trading is because I don't need the event. I just need the filters met. That's all I need with the top list. It's going to return me all those ideas, and then I can, determine how I want to manage those ideas from there. I've really been working at getting away from the new high. It was what I've used always for alert building, for years and years and years. And now I've, kind of started to mess around with some different stuff here with these pullback ones. Some crossed above resistance that I've been messing with. I'm not one of these pattern kind of people either. I just don't see the validity of even using those. Yeah, that's exactly it. But I just don't want to, mess around with this exercise here. Check out this consolidation here. What does that do? Let's bring up a definition of that. Bring that over here. So consolidation alert appears when stock is changing significantly less than normal volatility aside less price range determines every 15 minutes. Still kind of on the shorter things. Yeah, that's not going to do what I want it to do. Check out this positive market divergence. What do you do? What are you telling me? There's a similar sector, break that down, close. I work well in the low volume times, such as before, after. Bring out close. This might be something, all right. Okay. Let's mess with this. Let's see what this says. I think I like what I see here. More tension, previous close minimize effects of the opening trade at previous type. Some stocks do not usually move. QSO report alerts for these stocks. Okay. I like this. I think I found something new to play with. So we're going to add that alert and get rid of new high. Let's hide unused. All right, so this is what we're looking at here. Let's what are you going to call this? 3-month breakout with a question mark. All right, here we go. And we returned one whole alert from today. How did it do? Was it a winner? No. Caught the top. Interesting. But let's take a look here at history. Let's go with all. And so this will populate till either there's 1,000 symbols that come in here, or till it's gone far enough back that it can't go further back. What's it? Around 65 days right now. Struggling on that load. Let's see some of the stuff that's come through here. Interesting, finding these ones that have these big candles on it. That was after hours on Friday. Meta. That isn't this is an interesting one. I know the guys that actually created this ETF. Not something I see very often. Let's go back in time here a little bit. CTech, what do you do? So this is looking at a lot of ETFs. It's looking like more ETFs. Well, we have something we're kind of interesting to look at. Not exactly what I want to see. All right, so 4512. Interesting. AOSL. And so here we have a description of what triggered the alert. So, trading 2% above expectations based on the QQQ. It's going on a couple day run here, so 3286. See 1018. Nope, nothing. All right. Well, it was an interesting exercise, anyways. If anybody else has ideas or something they want to mess around with, please fire them at me. And for the meantime, I'm gonna swap it right for the good old new high and see what happens. End of the day alert will plug. All right, let's run it back in history here. Let's click all and see what we got. Quite a bit coming through today. Have to figure something out to tighten this up a little bit. Interesting one here. Boy, that had a lot lot of alerts come through today. All right, let's tighten this up. Let's tighten these filters up here. What do I mean by tighten it up? Let's add some more stuff to this here. All right, so there we're on a 3-month range. Let's build it, stack the ranges. So position 20-day range, I think, is the next longest from there. Or the next shortest, I'm sorry, going back down. Let's add that. 50% above 3 months. Let's also say that we're 60 in the 20-day range. Let's see if that slowed us down a little bit. Nope. And again, if someone has some thoughts, some ideas here, do not be shy to fire those away at me here. Let's see. Quarterly earnings growth. Let's get some growth in here. We're going long term, so maybe we'll throw some fundamental data in here. Do 1% just for fun. Okay, that slowed us down a little bit on these alerts. Not as much as I would have thought still. Volume. Add some more volume to this. Let's go with some 10-day volume here. Up 350K. And for those that are curious, why do I keep doing this? Is I don't want to see a ton of alerts come through this. I want to narrow the alerts down and then see if there's a way for me to narrow those down to more quality alerts. But so many alerts are coming through this that when it says more available right there, that means that from 12 o'clock to 4 o'clock Eastern time, 1,000 alerts came through. Yeah, that's a good call, Dan. I never even thought of that. Never even thought of that. Let's jump it right up to 2.5 on that quarterly growth. Just out of curiosity, what does stag look like? Not bad, actually. do I say not bad? Has this nice run up and a drop. We seem to be just kind of trending nice and higher right now. And obviously, there's some resistance to have there, but there to there doesn't make a bad risk reward. Let's get that RSI a little stronger. And up that 10-day daily average a little bit. Now we're going to ride it with what it is. We're going to check out a few alerts that are coming through. See if anything decent looking at us in the charts. All right, so MTTR, let's start here. Well, nice alert for the day anyways, that's for sure. Had itself quite a day, as a matter of fact. Nice chart pattern. Oops. Go back out further. This is a new issue. Nope, new issue stock. All right, so that's interesting. I like this. I like the wedge that's forming here. And well, that's just an absolutely horrible line drone. Drew a horrible line. There we go. It's a little better. I like this kind of pennant that's forming right there. We're going to have to resolve ourselves moving this way. A lot of range on the stock, 60 to 20 bucks looking at it there. We had this earnings, made a nice gap up from the earnings. We come back down, tested, and grinding higher. I like that. Okay. And for those that are wondering, what are we doing here? Well, I was trying to find something that's, on a longer term basis, but an alert window that, maybe give us some swing ideas. A lot of times people, how do I trade? How do I swing trade with trade ideas? Well, it's the way you'd swing trade with anything. We're going to return you ideas, or you're going to return yourself ideas with the scans, whether you want to use ones that we built or ones that you build. But what are your criteria for swinging? What are you trying to look for? You can't just type and say, "Show me swing ideas." That's not how any software works. The idea is we took some longer term time frame filters here, and I just stuck them with a basic new high alert. I was really trying to find something a little more creative than just a new high on the day. But maybe that's what's going to work for this one. Let's see. So, all right, I kind of like what's going on here. Getting through and holding this kind of line, this line right here, that will be, I think you're above or below line, whether you're going bearish or bullish on a stock like this. But so far, a couple of ideas that might work as some swing ideas. I like this here, Blue Apron. What's more interesting about that is I was on the TI strength alerts, as a matter of fact. Came right down here, maybe giving a flush. Running right back up here into resistance right there. But I think there's some room to run on this one. I don't know. So I guess the only thing I'd say be careful with something like Apron is it another lockdown, COVID lockdown play? You run yourself into trouble with things like that when you're trying to trade based on news. That's going to be your next resistance line there. But interesting, you get these sharp moves down followed by a sharp move up, sharp move down followed by a sharp move up. So you make of these things what you will. Start drawing lines, finding yourself patterns, how it does or doesn't fit into what your eye's looking for. But so far, kind of like some of the ideas that are coming back out of this. Be nice if we saw some new ones. There we go. SFM, I think it's Sunsprout Farms, right? Sprout Farmers Market, that's what it is. Oh, my son was in my mind. So again, something we've got a bit of a run on it here. Big move up. That was definitely a bull flag right there. Another move up. Just another bull flag formed right here. All right, ready to take that out now. It's definitely a resistance line or pivot line. That's it. It's a significant pivot line. Moving up into this next range up in here. So that might be something worth looking at. I think we got a scan that might be worth looking at over the next couple of weeks, see what it produces. First thing I see. All right, we passed earnings here. So are we set up? Are we set up to grind higher, back up above this level and try to take out this level, which happens to be a lifetime high. Anybody that knows me, I like lifetime highs. Doesn't mean I'm going to run right out. Oh, it made a lifetime high. I'm going to buy it. No, I'm going to look at the rest of the chart and what's going on. But you get something that makes a lifetime buy and makes a pullback. All right. Again, these are the things that I'm looking at here. All right. Finding strength. One other thing I'll note, your REITs, your real estates, they're very, very, very strong. And so this is going to be something in real estate world. All right. Finance, insurance, funds, trusts, other vehicles, pools, and funds. So it's probably a REIT here. American Homes for Rent, common share benefit interest. So that's what we got. Lost that scan. Jump behind. Here we go. And again, it's an open forum here, so I'm kind of just playing around with the software and having people watch. So you got questions, throw them at me. FSR, was that First Solar? No, Fisker. I like that. I like that chart. I like what we got going on here. Kind of like this scan I might be using this for some swing ideas in the near future here. I like this, came out of a nice base here. A beautiful run up. We pulled back down into this pivot line. Now we're ready to pull back right off that pivot line again. I don't think any of that's an accident. Very interesting stuff so far. I believe this is the one we just looked at a minute ago. Yeah. All right. So what's interesting about this is because it's a new high alert, we're not actually returning a ton of ideas here, just the same alerts over and over again. Again, liking some of what I'm seeing here, and we've got a fundamental component to this with the revenue growth in it. We've got a nice base here, beautiful move off of that, some explosion with growth here. All right, both sides of it, run up, pulling back into averages, and ready to make a move again. And again, where we happen to be sitting, right near that all-time high. So there's really no resistance above that right there. So another great idea return there by this, I would say. And this is the power of trade idea software. Just playing with it. I had an idea. I said, all right, I want to do something long term. So I looked at some longer term filters. And that's where I started. CSX, got your railroads, transportation. When's the earning on this? Oh, I got a long ways to go for earnings. I like this though. All right, and we're also looking at stocks that are pretty darn liquid too here. So I like that. And once again, what are we sitting right near? The strength of all-time highs. Now, I would also be remiss not to note the fall down to $30 right there from 36 basically. And is that possible? Of course that's possible. Is it possible for us to take out the all-time highs that were just established the other day? That's also possible too. So, know your risk versus reward when you're returning these ideas to yourself and how they do or do not fit in what you're trying to do or trying not to do. All right, we got about just over 10 minutes to go. And another stock, not real far off all-time highs, 51.77. That's going to be right back here. in March of this past year. All right. So we've gotten beat up. We've come way down. Yeah, fired away at me, Dan. So we came back down here, made a move back up here, and we've established a really nice long running base there. Really nice long running base. All right. We made a move up. We came right back down and tested that before making another nice move up with earnings to coordinate with that. All right. We pulled back down and found ourselves some support here that happens to reside with support there. Now, isn't that interesting? Where we're taking another shot, moving back up again. So, look, there's no magic of what I'm doing, and probably someone's going to look at one day someone's going to look at this video here because we post on YouTube recording. They're going to be like, "What the heck was this crazy person drawing on this chart? He has no idea what he's talking about." Maybe I do, maybe I don't. I'm just saying what I happen to see. Um, Take it for what it's worth. But the point of the exercise that I'm doing here is the ideas that are being returned by the scan and kind of going over them just from what appeared today. So, all right, noticing a couple of things with scans I am building. There are a few filters I seem to use a lot, and I usually have more trouble picking alerts. It's funny. It used to be the other way around for me. I was easy to pick the alerts because I just always went right to the new high. Um, and the filters were my trouble because I just didn't know what I wanted for filters. But get what you're saying there with that. And we're just kind of cruising along here. Let's see if there's anything different here returned throughout the rest of the day. So it's really the same set of stocks, 4 or 5 stocks, RRD. What was that? Donley, right? Yeah. 3D printing. This must be a buyout. Or a couple buyouts or something here. Let's see. Send to web. What is the almighty Yahoo telling me about this? Shareholder investigation. It's important warning. Shareholder investigation. Stock jumps. Early trading 6 hours ago. What say you? Yeah, going private. Okay. Go. So I was thinking, what if I use those filters that I use so much to build a top list, then ran a series of alerts, all at the same filter values? Yeah, that's actually something that I did when I was building that first 520 cross that I was building, Dan. My only issue is then I was just getting so many alerts that were coming through. It was more than I could handle, and I started to narrow it down from there and figure which one I wanted to go with. But I think that's a good idea. And, you could create that scan and then I would say, create that scan and then, just stick it off on another screen or minimize the scan and then go through it at the end of each day for, I don't know, 1 day, 5 days, 10 days, whatever you determine you want to do and see which alerts are are working the best with those filters because not all alerts are going to work with all filters. That's generally how it goes as far as, and then the ones that, what I would suggest is maybe even first instead go with process elimination. Look at the alerts that seem to be the worst interacting with those filters, drop those right away, then start to go as the next set of worst ones until you limit it down and then maybe break it down into 3 scans or something like that, 3 separate scans with maybe the 3 best working alerts to coincide with those filters. That's how I would play it. That's what my mind goes to for that. And then what did you say, Professor Chris? Do you swing trade similar to Steve or Michael? I would say probably swing trade similar to both of them since I stole a lot of what I do, especially from Steve. Um, I used to make all of the Tuesday Trade of the Week webinars with him and Andy, and all of the Monday ones with Jamie, and all the Thursday ones with Jamie and Andy. I was really never able to get to the Wednesday ones with Brad and Dan, unfortunately. But I attended those webinars for years before I came to work for Trade Ideas. Then I've been through tons of Michael's videos. I talk a lot of trading with Michael. During the days when he's not busy doing the stuff he's doing. So I've stolen a ton of what I do from all of them, to be honest. Um, That's where I get like a lot of the rounded bottom kind of stuff. A lot with Michael. Also, I stole a lot of that from J.C. Peretz and William J. O'Neill as well. A lot of the cup and handle stuff, and where I pull some stuff from Jamie. Jamie likes his range breaks, so I like to find things that have done something similar to what Andy and Steve like, is pulling back into different moving averages to find that support and strength. And then I like to see a pullback into moving averages with some consolidation for a range break of that. And so it's, really just a little piece from each one of those traders I kind of stole and created my own monster Frankenstein kind of idea of a plan. Michael seems over my head. Michael seems over my head. So, I mean, that's a fair assessment, I suppose, for anybody. Um, Michael's looking at 1,000 things at once, and he's been doing it professionally for a long time with prop firms, and he's got his CMT, he's got his CSA, he's got his I forget CIAI or whatever it is. Michael's got a lot of stuff going on. He's been doing this for, I mean, he's got to be doing it for close to 20 years now. I'm guessing, professionally and privately. So, there's a lot there with Michael, and he's always, he's one of those data people who, he's never just throwing stuff at the wall. He's taking in data nonstop and crunching that data however he likes to do it. I'm sure he's, God knows what he's got set up with Excel sheets and stuff like that. So um, I'll stick to more of the charting kind of stuff and the patterns. So I continue to scroll up here. JNPR. This is something I've been all over this and not trading it for months. But I said, I guess I was just early. Here, I said, get ready. This is, ready to make a nice move, considering it's, big float and it's a big traded name and all that. And it did, kind of. But I thought it was really going to keep going. I did not think we were going to get this action in the stock here before we got what I was looking for here. So was I early? Was I wrong? I don't know. Maybe I was both. I was early and wrong. I don't know. But just funny to see it pop up here now. And, hindsight trading always being my best and favorite form of trading. You know, we bang, couldn't get through. Bang, couldn't get through. Bang, got through, and it was a whoopsie. And it looks like we got a nice running start to really finally get through. It's like it just didn't have enough energy in that battering ram. Right here, it really banged on it. We started to get some energy and then we banged on it. And then there just wasn't enough energy from this bang to get through to hold it. And it really got that energy going here. Last few times to bust right through it. So, I mean, and I'm kind of playing around with the charts now too. So, I recognize that some of what I'm probably saying is half nonsense, half not at this point. After all, I've been up for 12 and a half hours doing this today alone. Curious what assessment was and what influences were. Yeah, the guys from here are my biggest influences. Barry has a big hand in what I do in a sense of being practical, really sticking to stops. As far as, I wish I could get a little better trade management to the upside, although I have gotten much better at that over the last couple of years. Barry's discipline is second to none that I've ever seen. And that's something I took from him, especially on the side of stops. But as far as the way Barry can just see that momentum forming on a chart and the time and sales for the intraday trading that he does, just something magic about it. Maybe someday I might be lucky enough to have that. I don't know. I don't have the ambitions to kind of day trade in that sense like he does, to be honest, anymore. I said, I like things that move a little slower than some of the crazy stuff he gets into. But that's, what makes all of us individuals and unique and all those things like that. So, yeah, of course, Dan, I'm happy, uh, happy to do this every day. I really want people to get out of this platform what I got out of it. I just happen to be lucky that I ended up with a job here with these guys. But believe me, that didn't come by accident. It was, very vocal part of the Trade Ideas community for years. In a positive way, trying to share things. I'd come up with a scan and, I'd pester Steve on Twitter, I'd pester Dave Mabe on Twitter, or, one of those guys, and, what do you think of this? Or what's your criticism here? Or, things like that. So, and when I say pester, I mean, send them the occasional message, once every few months, not, not bothering them every single day. Um, PSTG, taking a look at this, another one. I'm liking the strength that I see on these daily charts here, very much so. You can find stuff that had these big bases after, some nice run ups, all right, from a lot of these charts. We get a big come down and a nice base, and then a big move off some of these bases. And then these moves have held. And I've just seen a lot of strength in this chart here. Now, I wouldn't go running. Also, full disclosure, I took a crappy loss on this one the week before last. I thought it was breaking out here, so I bought it the next day, and I literally bought the top of this, and then I ended up getting out a couple days later because that was where my stop was, and I got stopped out. And in hindsight, it looked good because I got stopped out, and then it moved against me for all those days before deciding to have nice earnings and pop right through. So it is what it is. Win some, lose some. So still feel like I haven't scratched the surface with it sometimes. Dan, 5 years into this, and I get that feeling too with the software, to be honest. Look what I just did, kind of messing around. I'm really liking the stuff that I'm seeing out of this here. I'm finding what I think is actually some really good strength in some of these charts. Another one here, I'm really liking some of what I'm seeing here. You got an opinion on box? Without even looking at box, I can tell you that I hate that chart. Why do I hate it? Because it has so many topping and bottoming tails, and I've traded it so many times, and I'm probably flat on it after trading it 30 times because I get a big win on box and I take a big loss on box every single time. Just always seem to hand it back with that damn stock. So, but I'll look at the chart overall. It's always one of those ones. It's such a tease. It always looks like it's ready to get going and jump and, fly away, and then it doesn't. But let's see. I haven't looked at it in probably at least 2 weeks. Oh wow. Okay, yeah. So I didn't see that. So all right, what do I see on box here? So first off, I see the things I just told you. These big tails here, or whatever you want to call them. Why this keeps doing this? There's a bug in the charts on the version that I'm in where it zooms in on my intraday charts. There we go. All right, so this is the stuff that I'm talking about. Not just daily charts, but like, this topping tail, topping tail, topping tail, topping tail, all these topping tails, all these topping tails, topping tail, topping tail, topping tail, all through here. Then on an intraday chart, topping tails, topping tail, massive topping tail, topping tail, topping tail, topping tail, topping tail, all, non-stop. So it's like one of those ones, it's like you see this big move here and you're like, yeah, we're going to the moon. And then no, we're not. We're going right back down here to the basement. So that's one thing. This has a personality, the stock. There was ever a schizophrenic stock, box is it for sure. So we'll start there. All right. And then I'll say for every big move that it makes up, you'll find a big move coming right back down on it. All right. So you definitely got some solid base that's down here. All right. And I would say you have your next solid base that's right in here. And I wouldn't be surprised with this price action if we come back down and test this, to be honest with you. We got earnings we're reporting tomorrow, but I double check on the sources on that just in case. Let's see if Yahoo has it here. Where are you? Send to web. See if this has earnings date tomorrow. Yeah, so tomorrow is your earnings. All right, so you'll have earnings tomorrow. So I mean, if you're in it, have your plan, and there's not much you can do with the plan, if earnings, send it this way and send it that way, obviously, whether you're short or long, I don't know, or if you're just not in it and you're just curious. All right, so, I think this is kind of an established base down here that we might come and test, and it's a terribly drawn line. And then, just look at, like I said, we get these nice moves up and it gives it away immediately. This nice move up, give it away. Nice move up, boom, come down here and probably stopped a bunch of people out right there. And recovers right away, and then boom, right back down. And then right back up again. My charts are really hating me right now. Come on, software, catch back up with the rest of the world. There we go. And then, again, another move, boom, down. And we grind and grind and grind. And then we start to make this pattern that I really like right there. And it looks like it's ready to go take it out because we're sitting lifetime high, right? And we've got a nice strong pattern coming right into that lifetime high. And it just rolls right over and gives it up again. So it's a tough trader. That's all I can say with box. So unless you've got something really long term, I mean, you can say, on a long term basis also higher. That's kind of a base right there. This holds a higher low on a real long-term basis going back to March. You really want to, I guess you could draw a trend line going this way as well. So that's kind of my 2 cents on box. It's got a personality that just needs to be on Thorazine or something. The stock. I never know when to take a stock personally more seriously than chart setup itself. That makes sense. Never know when to take a stock personality more serious than a setup. I think I get what you're saying. Like the personality of the stock weighs into how you want to try to get into it. It's one of those ones like, do I try to buy the breakout? Do I try to buy a pullback? And it seems like the personality of the stock can hurt you every single time. You're like, all right, well, I'm going to get this breakout, and then it's not a breakout. You're like, all right, fine, I'm going to get this, pullback right here. All right, but then it's a really massive pullback. I mean, I wouldn't even just call that a pullback, right? So, same thing. So it's like, and then it looks like, oh, is it going to break out there? Is it going to break out there? Is it going to break out there? Nope, we're dropping. All right, well, we're covered. Are we ready to go again? Nope, we're dropping. All right, we're grinding higher. We're grinding higher. Are we ready to get it? Yeah, there's a pullback right there, and that pullback looks good. And then, no, the rug gets pulled out from us again. Is there a list of potential descriptions for an alert window? No, your best descriptions for any alert window is just in the summary. Speaking of, sorry, alert windows here, let's share this out with anybody that's here and stuck around through all this nonsense. Save or share to cloud. Save and share. Copy. Oh, my computer is struggling today. I'm blaming it on Cyber Monday. All right, there you go. Anybody that might be interested in that, see how that returns. The idea behind this is to return some stuff that's longer term. So all right, I'm gonna have to wrap it up today. I didn't realize it was late as it was already. Thank you guys, Dan and Perfect Circle. Thanks for jumping in, keeping me company for a little bit here. Again, anybody that's wandering in or out, I see people are in here. I mean, I'm assuming you're people. You got numbers as viewers. Um, it's an open forum Q&A. I do this Monday through Friday at 3:30 Eastern for Trade Ideas Software. I like it when you guys are asking questions. I like it when you're generating the content. That's what I'm here for. There's no question. I'm never going to be upset at a question. Um, you know, Ask it. Maybe it's a simple one. Maybe it's a complicated one. Maybe I have the answer right away. Maybe I might have to have you send an email so I can get back to you on that answer. But I want people to get the most out of the software, and people that are interested in the software, thinking, do I want to subscribe or do I not want to subscribe? Well, I want to convince you whether it is to subscribe or not subscribe by giving you information, building things, showing you things with the software. So I'll be back here tomorrow at 3:30 Eastern doing it again. Barry will have this stream open at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning, as he does every single morning. He's live on the mic at 9:05. He will shut down at 3 o'clock. We let the stream, rest for half an hour before I open it back up again. So thanks again, everybody. I really, really appreciate you all coming in, and hope to see everybody and a few extras tomorrow. Take care. Have a great rest of your Monday. Bye bye.